In this section, we will learn what is debugging and how to debug JavaScript code in various browsers with the help of the developer tool. The category of this question is debugging techniques. There will be two relative questions for this particular topic. Any application or program that you think of may have some or other issues or errors, like sometimes it might have runtime errors or maybe design time errors, which you need to resolve to get the desired output. And debugging is the process of searching and resolving the bugs or errors from the code. Now, what are runtime and design time errors? So runtime error is a program error that occurs at the time of execution, that is, while the program is running. Runtime errors are often referred to as bugs. These errors are faced by the end user, that is the user of program, the application, the web page. Design time errors are the ones that occur at the time of development, at the time of designing the application. That is, while the developer is coding. For example, when you accidentally write wrong variables, or sometimes when you call the function or use variable names that are not declared, or typo in programming language keywords, generate these types of design time errors. These types of errors, which we also call as syntax errors, are generated at the time of compiling the code and can be reduced with advanced code editors. So runtime errors or bugs are faced by the end user, that is, user of the program, whereas syntax errors or design time errors are for developers. Desktop applications were easy to debug for runtime errors as compared to browser-based web applications in the early days. But in modern web development, browsers are competent enough with debugging plugins and tools, for example, the developer tool available in all the browsers. There are various plugins available in the browser that help you to debug your application, like Redux DevTools, Dart Debug Extension, Xdebug Helper, Google Analytics, and many others. These are Google Chrome plugins. Other browsers also provide their respective plugins. But we are going to focus on the developer tool as it's a part of all the browsers. So let us first understand what is a developer tool. Every browser has a developer tool. The developers have to run logs, debug code, check response time from the server. All such types of operations you can manage. You can check in the browser's developer tool. As the name explains, the developer tool is meant for developers. Now let me go to Google Chrome to open the developer tool. Here I will go to the menu on the top right, then in the More Tools, select the last developer tool option, and the developer tool will open. Here you can see various tabs like Elements, Console, Sources, Network, etc. Let us quickly go through these tabs as we are going to discuss in detail in forthcoming sections. This first icon here is the Inspect element. In fact, it is a switch that allows you to inspect any element of the HTML document. When you click here, it turns on, and as soon as you select any element, let's say here I select this search bar, it turns off, and you see here in the Elements tab, it shows the source code related to this search bar. Now next is the Elements tab, which shows the HTML code of the currently opened web page. For example, let me open the site Amazon. Here it shows the code of this page, and on the right side it displays the CSS used for this page. Developers generally use this to refer and to understand what is happening behind the scene of their web page. The next is the Console tab, where you can try various console object statements, which we will see in detail in a dedicated tutorial of the console object. Logs, warnings, errors are displayed in the console tab and are categorized here in this sidebar. About the sources tab, the name explains itself that it shows the JavaScript source code of the currently opened web page, and here on the left side there is a list of JavaScript files. If you select any of the file, you can see the source code and can check for errors, you can put breaks, and there are other things which you can do, which we will see again in a dedicated section. This network tab displays all the requests made to the server along with the response, be it an HTML, CSS, image, JavaScript files or any other asset. Let me refresh this site, and as you can see here, let me increase the developer tool size. It shows the network activity like status, type, initiator, time, size, etc. as soon as the page and its resources started loading. Now to open the developer tool in Firefox, I will again go to the menu and then to more options and select the Web Developer Tools option. If you are on Mac machine, go to Safari, Preferences, or press Command plus comma, which is a shortcut, which will bring this screen. Again go to Advanced and check this option. This action will start showing the Develop menu. Now to open the developer tool, go to Develop and click Show Web Inspector. And for almost all the browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, etc., the keyboard shortcut to open the developer tool is Ctrl-Shift-I or F12, and for Mac OS it is Command-Option-I. So we have seen the introduction to debugging and the developer tool. In the next section, we will start learning about the developer tool and debugging techniques practically. Now let's discuss relative questions. The first question is explain debugging and runtime versus design time errors. So as I explained, debugging is the process of finding and resolving the bugs or errors in the applications. And the difference between runtime and design time is that runtime errors are occurred at the time of execution, whereas the design time errors are the syntax errors that occur at the time of coding, that is at the time of compiling, at the time of development. Runtime errors are faced by the end users, but design time errors are for developers as they can be corrected at the time of compilation. The next question is, what is a developer tool? So developer tool is basically for the developers, and all modern browsers provide integrated developer tools that help the developers to inspect their web page. So we have seen elements, console, sources, network, like tabs in brief, and we are going to discuss in detail in forthcoming sections.